Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I thought I'd do a first impressions video of my, sorry, it's banging over there, Kawasaki Z500 SE. Let me turn you around. This is the 2024 model. I got it for a good deal from Kawasaki in about 3 months ago actually. So I thought it was about time I did a first impressions video on it. I haven't done many miles on it in 3 months, mind you. I've done literally 200 miles because the weather's been wet, cold. I mean, it's just starting to show signs of spring now, so hopefully I'll be able to get some good miles in. I've got the 3-month service coming up, even though it's not 600 miles because it's part of the warranty. It's got to be 3 months. Yeah, so once it's had that done, I'll be able to open it up a little bit more and hopefully see how good it is. But this is just the first impressions, so let's crack on, shall we? Okay, so this bike is a 451cc engine, parallel twin. It's the same as what was in the Z400, but it's been upped from 400cc to 451cc. So not a massive increase, and calling it a Z500 is a little bit of a stretch. It's a 451. It does produce 45 horsepower and about 42 newton meters of torque. So it's not a slow bike, it's like on the limit of A2. I mean, this is the SE model. This isn't standard, as you can see, because I've changed the mirrors for these bar end mirrors. I didn't like the stock mirrors. So that doesn't come as stock. And also this is an optional extra, which I got. In America, this, sliders, radiator guard, all comes as standard on the SE model, but in Britain it doesn't. So I had to pay extra for this, which is about 60 quid. Or you can get a 20 quid one off AliExpress, so exactly the same, but this is the genuine one. They're easy to fit, so just get the AliExpress one would be my recommendations. But the rest of it is standard, apart from R&G crash bars and an AliExpress radiator guard, which I've got one which says 500 on it. It's looking a little bit dirty, it needs to clean the whole bike. I have sprayed it with XCP. Yeah, is it XCP? The rust protector, rust blocker. So it looks a bit slimy in places. So as standard, the SE version comes with the Kawasaki TFT. The non-SE version doesn't. The non-SE version comes with an LCD, which is more basic. It's kind of split into 2 bits. There's a bit there, it's a little bit smaller, and there's a bit here for all your lights, and then there's an LCD display there. So the SE version comes with that lovely TFT, and this was only £100 more than the non-SE version for me and the deals they were doing, so it was the no-brainer really to get this. The SE version also comes with the coloured wheels and the matte paint, which the non-SE version doesn't come with. And I thought this just looked nicer. Although I wasn't too keen on the red to start with when I saw it in the showroom, but then when I went back to look at it again, it sort of grew on me. It's a bit different to the green that you're used to. So if we look at the wheels, nice big, massive front disc for a bike that weighs, this weighs 168 kilos or 178 kilos. I'll flash up on the screen, but I think it's either 168 or 178 kilos wet. So it's only light, so that one disc is plenty enough, and it's quite a big disc. With a 2-pot Nissan caliper, ABS is standard obviously. Nowadays it's the rules. Whack on my up, it's conventional forks, which is it's pretty unconventional now to have conventional forks. So are they right way up forks or are they wrong way up forks? Who knows nowadays? But let's work our way up here. Got LED lights all round. It's very basic. It's not, it's not an expensive bike. It's quite a basic bike. Switch gears all basic. There's no ride-by-wire, no modes. Just your usual, your horn, your indicators, high beams. See, it's got hazards, which is good. Okay, the suspension is non-adjustable at the front. I haven't found it to be too hard. I found it quite nice actually, not too harsh, not too soft. Speaking of the front, You can see there's a slight angle to the bars. They're not dead straight. They do angle down slightly as well, I believe. So it's quite a sporty position. It's a bit sportier than I thought it was going to be. The pegs aren't massively high though. They're not like they're not monstrously high, but they are. There is a little bit of weight on your wrist. It's not sports bike like. I've not ridden a sports bike, but I have sat on them, and you do feel hunched over. This one is not as bad as that, but it is a bit sportier than I thought it was going to be. But then again, essentially it's a Ninja 500 without the fairings, isn't it? So really shouldn't have expected much else. But I find it quite comfortable. I do find it quite comfortable. And then there's quite a high rear seat, as you can see. You can see the sports bike DNA in it there. It's got monoshock at the back, which is preload adjustable. I mean, there's not really much. It's quite a basic bike. It's not really much to show just walking around. It's got the high beams down here, and then dual headlights here. The headlights aren't great. I'm going to say that in the night time. Headlights really aren't that fantastic. And one thing I do wish they did is the kickstand. I wish it had a bit coming out here for your foot to grab onto. It's quite hard to grab hold of when it's just back there there's nothing sticking out to grab for your foot. So that would be one thing I would improve. Of course, XCP I've got all over it. I'll have to get the clear coat one next time. But apart from that, it's not really much to go over. It's quite a basic bike. I picked it up for £5,000 on the road, £5,100 on the road, and I was doing a 0% HP finance at the time, so I'm happy with what I've got. It's got 110 Dunlop tyres at the front, 150 Dunlop tyres at the rear. They're not massively exciting tyres. They're not budget tyres. They are the GPR 300s. Just read that upside down. So quite a common tyre. Cable throttle, cable clutch. Like I say, quite basic. There's not really much more to show you. Oh, the SE version comes with this as well. This little fairing cowl, whatever you want to call it, down here. And the non-SE version doesn't. But that's about it, really. That's all there is to show. Okay, one thing I did forget, that I've now got my helmet on, is that something that I do want to show about this bike. Excuse the angle, but I need to open the back. So you take that off. Obviously you've got your back of your seat here, but if you lift up there's a special cubby hole specifically for a Kawasaki D-lock, and it is a big substantial D-lock, and it fits in there perfectly. That's about 70 quid, that D-lock, so it's not cheap, but it fits right through it's a proper big D-lock, and quite substantial and heavy, and it fits. Let me just put that in. It actually fits all the way through the disc and through the wheel spokes. So you've got a big D-lock that comes through the whole wheel, and it's specially designed to go in that back section, so you don't have to carry it around with you in a bag, which is really good. I'm really chuffed, really pleased. I didn't even know that until I bought the bike, after I'd bought it. So that is really, really good. More companies should do that. Anyway, just a bit extra I forgot to tell you. As I say, it's quite a comfortable position to be sitting in, this bike. It's not uncomfortable at all. It did take me a little bit to get used to, because I came from a CB125F, which is more of a neutral, upright seating position, more like an adventure bike. I'll just do my zip up. So this is a lot more aggressive than that, but generally it's not an uncomfortable place to be. TFT is nice and bright. That's not on its brightest setting either, I don't think. The TFT is very basic. There's not You don't get all the rider modes and that you get on the bigger Kawasaki's. The fueling seems pretty good on this bike as well. I've not had any issues with jerkiness that I can tell, that I can notice massively. The CB sorry, I was just listening to directions. The Hornet 750 that I did my DAS on, that had much bigger fueling issues. That was a 2023 model Hornet, and that really was quite jerky, about 20 mile an hour. Leg position, it is a little bit, it took some getting used to. It's quite an acute angle on your knee. And the handlebars, there's not a massive amount of weight on your wrist. It's actually really quite comfortable. But most of your weight feel like you're going forward. So you do get a good sense of what the front wheel's doing. There's not a huge amount of protection for your legs though. I know it's a naked bike, but the tank these fairings aren't very wide. It's quite narrow. It's only like a little twin engine in it. And the tank's not massive. I think it's like a 12 litre tank. If I'm wrong, I'll correct it. But yeah, so your legs can get a little bit cold. Obviously your hands can get cold. You can put hand guards on if you want. But I've got the bar mirrors on instead. This little wind thing doesn't do a massive amount, but it just keeps the wind off of you. Like if you've got a phone here, for example, like I have here, it just kicks it over your phone, so you haven't got to worry about your phone being blasted and worry about your mount, you know, it being blown off your mount. Not that it should do nowadays, mounts are good, but still, anything you've got on your handlebars here shouldn't be blasted with wind with any luck. So I'll feel it up to about, comes up to about the bottom of my neck actually, so it does actually do a pretty good job. About my, yeah, just top of the chest maybe, neck, so it actually does do a better job than I thought it did. So that was like I say, that was like a 60 quid extra from, or 70 quid extra from Kawasaki. You can get them for about £20 on AliExpress. Exactly the same model, exactly the same. It's starting to get a bit windy actually. Guess that's the downside of being such a light bike. So if I had if I had any negatives about this bike, I would say the biggest negative for me was the mirrors. I was really, really disappointed with the mirrors. I mean, motorbike mirrors are generally a lot of shoulder anyway, but these were worse than the CB125F. Was much easier mirrors to use. You could see a little bit more. The mirrors on this were a lot of shoulder and elbow basically, and those really weirdly shaped angular, but you know, like instead of just being normal shaped mirrors, those really quite angular, like triangular-y. And because obviously you got convex, all mirrors are pretty much convex, it just had this really weird effect where it felt like I was seeing double vision. They just weren't good. They weren't good. I mean, if you put mirror risers or extenders on, they would have been much better, but then you've got even bigger mirrors just hanging off your bike that look don't look ridiculous, but sorry if I'm pausing, it's because Google Maps is telling me where to go. Yeah, it would have ended up with like right out here mirrors and that, so I thought, oh, I'll try. So I've got these bar end mirrors, and I'm really glad I did. They're really, really, really good vision. I'm getting quite a bit of wind buffeting now at 50 mile an hour, but it is like quite windy today. Probably not the best day to do this this ride, but good job I'm on my way home, really, isn't it? Yeah, there's really not much wind protection at all. And because it's light, you do feel the gusts. It's not terrible. I certainly wouldn't want to be like doing 80 mile an hour on the motorway in this with windy weather like this though. I'd want something a bit heavier. Service intervals on this are apparently 7,000 miles, so depending on how much you ride, you should get a good year out of it at least, unless you're someone who goes, you know, all over the place a lot of the time, you know, touring and that. And because it is small and light, filtering is a breeze. I don't do much filtering though, unless I really have to. I'm not in that much of a rush most of the time. I mean, it's pokey for a little 450cc. You certainly won't be left, you certainly got more than enough power to keep ahead of most traffic. Suspension, it's really, I found the suspension to be pretty spot on for the roads actually around here in England. It's not too hard and it's not too soft. It's not going to be adventure bike. It's not going to be adventure bike comfy by any means. She looks really small on that bike, doesn't she? Or that bike looks really big. It's got bar end mirrors on that one as well. The miles per gallon, I believe, I'll flash up on the screen what it actually says. It's the miles per gallon seem okay. They're not like, I mean, don't forget I'm coming from a CB125F. And the miles per gallon on a CB125F are just monstrous. So anything seems bad compared to that, but I'm sure I could get about 80 probably out of this, 70 or 80. So it's all right. I mean, it doesn't have a massive tank though, so you're getting your average, I guess what most bikes get, a couple of 100 miles per tank. It just means you're spending less to do them couple of 100 miles. It's a big engine in that. See it hanging out the side. But I don't really have, there's not really much more to say. I'm impressed with it. But what can you say for first impressions? Everything seems, there's no rust appearing anywhere after 3 months in the winter. Not that I've been out much on it, but there's no rust appearing. Everything seems tight and good finish, good quality standards. Obviously it's Kawasaki, it's bound to be. So first impressions are very impressive, and little engine's got some poke. It's a comfortable ride. This seat is actually really comfortable. I was expecting it to be a little bit more uncomfortable, but it's not at all. It's actually, I do sink into the seat a little bit, so it's not rock hard or anything. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these bikes aren't built to be, you know, like rock hard suspension track things. They're built to be comfortable on the road, but look sporty. And it does a good job at it. I mean, look at these roads. They're not brilliant, but they're not hurting my butt going over these. Suspension's pretty good. It's comfortable. Oh, it's not really much more to say, really. Comfort-wise, I'm pleased with it. So yeah, I don't really have a lot more to say, apart from I want to get out of this wind now. And would I recommend it? Definitely. This cost me 5,100 on the road. which is, in my opinion, a bargain for a Kawasaki of this standard. And yeah, I'd buy it again all day long if I had the choice. I think it's a great first bike for anyone who's just passed out their test, and it's A2 compliant, so if you're an A2 rider you can get it. Obviously I've got a full A license, but I didn't want a massive engine to start with due to insurance and all that lot, so this for me is perfect. So yeah, I'd recommend it. That's pretty much all there is to say. And I'll thanks for, oh god, Google Maps is chatty. Yeah, so I recommend it. If you watch this video, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon, hopefully. Okay, bye.